Yeah, good morning, friends. It's a great pleasure to invite you all for the meeting on Saturday. Once again, this is our Scaliver's 10th webinar on changing facets of communication strategy in pharma. So we have been doing this webinars for last 10 weeks. And I'm really thank you for the all patterns who are given extending their support to us. Today, this webinar will be titled on changing facets of communication strategy in pharma. Today, one of the major question keep on getting is on how the strategy we need to work out on communication. Either we need to think of content or the mode or what has to be done on that. So what actually the things is we really want to see how the communication need to really take place in the doctor chambers. Now, since the kind of the current scenario, we have a very limited scope to meet our customer in person. We need to see our different media and how that has to work out on that. And this is actually a kind of interesting session. You will be seeing in this current scenario how the options you have available to you, how we can actually work out on the opportunities and make it favor to you. And we have Mr. Verma, who is actually a leadership coach. And before we just go into that, we'll just brief you of the journey so far. We have completed almost 9 webinars so far. We start with that most of the things we touch upon the marketing aspects of the in pharma on various legends. We have Mr. Amitabha, Mr. Vikram, Sandeep Bhattacharya, Mr. Naresh Katara, Mr. Vivek, and Prashant, Mr. Sangardas. And we have a good people were planning and lining up into the coming weeks as well. And especially next week we are planning to have another very interesting session, which I'll brief you at the end of the session. Now, I take this privilege to really welcome Mr. Verma, and this is really a great opportunity for me to, introduce him. In thing is, one of the webinar I have really seen his presentation and really amazed. So I thought, okay, we need to bring him to our all our audience. That is the reason I tied up, and within no time he said yes. And not only that, in fact, he witnessed the last session also, and he has supported us. And not only that, I think we will be going to have a long mail with him. Really will be it's a great pleasure for me to invite him. Very brief about him. Just having 20 years of experience in pharma sales, marketing, digital marketing, information technology, customer engagement, SAP training, leadership development, and many others. And very important to mention is he is a member of Leadership Excellence and Harvard School. And he's done his MBA from Marketing Management in Andhra University. He is business writing, graphic design, and successful presentation, University of Colorado Boulders 2019. That I think you can see his presentation. You will see that the kind of change which will be a different from the what are the presentation we had in the past, and learning how to learn. He has completed from University of California, and digital transformation from ISP Hyderabad, digital footprints from University of Edinburgh, MDP and coaching for leaders from senior leadership coaching in IIM Bangalore, coaching, learning, leadership and change from Case Webster Reserve University in 2020, creative thinking techniques tools for success, Imperial School of London, inbound and social media marketing, HubSpot Academy, and this again we have the done a program on the leadership and emotional intelligence from ISP Hyderabad. Ask you one simple question. When I say communication, what you think is communication? I just request all people to use the chat box. Just put it all. What do you think is a communication? You can put whatever you think. Probably that will be a kind of role balling on the session. So we know want to really understand what actually things, and I'm sure that it's a very very basic elementary question. Still, really, we want to see what you think is communication. I'm not talking about anything else, what you do at your office or anything. but I just want to know what actually you think as a communication. I think people can just use the chat box now. Exchange of information. Mr. Sunil, can we have more responses? Can you put it in chat box, please? Some more people. Communication express our emotion, feelings, and exchange of information which should be understandable by the receiver. Good. I think Sindhil's a great response. Good. I think you made it touch upon the great points. Conveying our message and information. Good. Very great. Yes, Rachana. The exchanging of information by speaking, writing, using some other medium. Good. Thanks, Rachana. Without keeping our speaker to wait more time, now I'll hand over the session to Mr. Verma. Over to speaker. I'm just stop sharing now. Mr. Sharma, you can pick it up.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kalaraj. I think, thank you for your kind introduction. And once again, I welcome all the participants, seniors, and the industry experts to this great session. So this is actually mutual learning session. I will also be learning a lot of things from you today. So let us start with the session. Yeah, I hope most of you know that today is the National Medical Representative Day, and it's a great day to feel very proud, because I am the one among one of you, started my career as a medical representative way back in 2000 in Guntur, currently it's in Andhra Pradesh. So from there, I have actually, elevated into different levels, and today I'm just, before you with experience from different kind of perspectives, so that what we will see today is not only just how communication has evolved, but what exactly communication to us right now in this pandemic situation. So we'll be talking on the changing facets of communication strategy in pharma. And our today's agenda will be the evolution of communication process and what digital disruption did it to the pharma, and what opportunities that we have in the coming future, or post COVID. Okay, so first, before actually jumping into the process of communication, can I ask you guys, what is the time we start communicating as a human? I'll just give you the options. At the age of 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or after 1 year. You can just put A, B, C, or D. A is 3 months, B is 6 months, C is 10 months, and D is after 1 year. So what's usually the time we start communicate? It's A. Most of them, there are 2 A's, 1 B and 1 D. Bonu says D, Vaishnavi B. Okay, B means 6 months. A means 3 months until. Okay, great. Let me tell you, I hope that most of you know about the story of Abhimanyu, right? So when did he know about the strategy of Padmavyuha or Chakravyuha? When he was in the womb of the mother, right? When he was in the womb of Subhadra, Arjuna tells the story of how to enter into the Padmavyuha, and she was just listening and listening, and she fell asleep. But Abhimanyu still notes, and he will say, and Arjuna thinks that still Subhadra is listening. Recently, in one of the WebMed, I searched for the scientific, because in pharma we always go to evidence based rather than a history based. So I thought of finding more into that research. Then I found an article in WebMed which says that the human starts communicating before birth, and we know that we stop only after the death. So it's around when they're at the seventh month of the baby in the womb, they start communicating. That means by, probably you all might have experienced your children, just they will start restless when they are not happy or when they are not comfortable in the womb. So those are all communication. Communication does not mean that he has to speak. This is very, very basic myth we all have, is communication means speaking good English or speaking excellent communication. So what we need to understand is these are two different things. Communication is a language, okay, or speaking is a language, whereas communication is an art, and everyone can become an artist. Only thing is you need to know the rules of communication and some techniques. So today we'll explore those. So in the history, like, from the beginning, if you see, what we'll talk about is more on business communication. So how business communication has transformed. So there are three different models, which is the first one is transmission model of communication. So in transmission model, you all know about radios and TV. So what happens? You only have one side communication. The sender sends the communication through a channel, and we receive it, and he doesn't bother whether he understood or he has not understood. And if I correlate this with our profession, as a representative, a new joinee, what does he do? He will just go and pick up the PDA or visual aid, go to the doctor, he will just communicate and come back. He doesn't know whether doctor understood, not understood, or what other things he has to do. So this is a simple kind of transmission model of communication, which is very ineffective. And then there is a noise. So communication, even though it is looks very simple, because of this guy called noise, it's very complicated. Noise may be physical, noise may be psychological, or there are different noises, environmental and all. So this noise actually creates a lot of issue. That's why the communication, whatever sender sends, may not receive to the receiver, or receiver may not give the feedback. So this is, if you understand this, you are actually a good communicator. So there are only three things to remember here: sender, channel, and receiver. Sender sends the message, and receiver receives it. So which we call it as a sender encodes it and receiver decodes it. Okay. Now, interaction model of communication. So in interaction model, what happens? So interaction means between two, right? So in the previous model also, there is between two, like the audience as well as either a speaker or a TV or radio. But here it is more, like involvement of both the parties. So for example, you are communicating as a brand manager, you started communicating through the channel, okay, to your content to the doctors. That means you encoded the message, or you encoded the brand communication, and you send it through a channel. Maybe you send it as a WhatsApp video, for example, and the doctor receives it, or your teams receives it. Now what they will do? They will understand. That means they decode it, and they will send you the feedback. So here, the receiver becomes a sender and you become a receiver. So this is two-way model. That's why we call it as interaction model. The first one is transaction and the second one is interaction model. And here again, the noise, which will actually may create a disturbance at the time of encoding, or at the time of decoding, or at the time of receiving or sending the message, or even during the channel. So the example of channel can be like, email or a direct message, a phone call, a message, everything can be a channel. Okay, so now we'll see the third communication model, which is a transaction model. Usually what we believe transaction means between two, like, selling and buying, but in communication, it has a different meaning. So what does transaction means? It's a co-creation of meaning. So here, both sender and receiver creates the content rather than doing one person doing it. You involve the receiver also, or you involve both the parties, so that here there will be no sender, no receiver. It's only communicators. This is one of the best model of communication if you wanted to involve. For example, you want to involve a child in any of the, when he is playing, what will you do? You can't give instructions, right? You do like this, you do like that. You also miss the fun, and he will also not enjoy it. What you will do, you yourself go there, you play with him, and then you kind of create a meaningful from that. So that is called co-creation of meanings. So here you have, again, the noise will definitely plays a role. So sometimes noise may be psychological. If you're not happy and you just had a fight with somebody, and then you're attending this workshop, probably you don't get anything. Whether I can take the best presentation, but still you will not understand anything, because you have already created, the mind has created that barrier called psychological barrier. So you need to understand those barriers and try to be calm, and then start learning. So if you want to learn anything, that is the best technique, is get your mind calm and then start learning. So this is similarly when you're communicating with your customers. So this is what I have seen. After the COVID, what we have done, most of the companies, in a hurry, it's like a dangerous situation where you are losing the prescriptions. Even patients are not coming to the clinic, but because of that, you could not know what to immediately, because your mind is not stable. So you started doing the webinars, and those many webinars have done that doctors have frustrated. Then you started sending the mails. You're sending the mail content to the people, and they're sending to the mail. And believe me that only if you are getting 10% of response from the email, you are successful. It's very ineffective way of communication, especially in the digital age. So we need to identify which actually creates more meaningful for my customer. So in this sense, is my emails solving any problem? If you're finding the answer no, then don't expect that your customer is going to respond to your email. That simple is to, in this. Okay, so we'll understand the during the digital disruption in that mode. So welcome to the digital disruption. Digital disruption has actually hit like a tsunami in the pharma industry. This actually started in many industries way back, maybe 5 years, 6 years back. But in pharma, because it's a very, very regulated market, the digital could not enter, or digital did not have much scope what most of the companies thought. But with one push, actually COVID has pushed everybody into that thrill. Now you don't have any other option other than just adopting a digitalness. So we will see what happens, and we will also see some case study which will tell us how actually digital disrupts an industry, and how as a leader you have to act. So leader does not mean that you are a owner of a company. Even if you are a manager, you are a product manager, or you are a marketing head, whatever, it's very, very important for you to respond now so that you can excel in the future. So in the digital disruption, if you study, most of the companies, especially the leaders, always failed to identify, or this is a very consistent pattern, that they always neglect the digital disruption. And the result is, if we see the companies like Nokia has completely neglected the smartphone advent, and they think that it's not going to impact, because at that time they were around 30 or 40% market share, or more than that. But what happened today? Nokia becomes a history. Similarly, there are a lot of examples that we have which has disrupted. In the entire hotel industry was disrupted by Airbnb. So Airbnb was a sharing kind of thing where you can just upload your property in the website and then you can give it rent to anybody across the world. Similarly, you have seen Uber, how Uber has disrupted the entire travel industry, and then the hotel industry has been hit by the apps like Uber Eats and Zomato. So if you see all these examples, one thing is very, very consistent. What is that? Technology. So in every success of these big companies, there is only one thing which has consistently played very, very important role, is called technology. So you cannot neglect technology. And you may say that, okay, I'm not a techno guy, I'm a pure sales guy. Yes, I was also a pure sales guy, but I worked for more than 7 years in technology. I was heading the implementation of one of the best projects in Europe, US, and Africa, and it's like a learnable skill. It's not a rocket science. Only thing is, you should believe that you can learn it. Okay, so today what we'll see is Clayton Christensen Disruptive Innovation Framework. Probably you might know about this, but this is one of the best disruptive model which has been discussed in the industry. And Clayton Christensen was a professor in Harvard. So he has seen the disruption of these innovations, and then he has come up with this theory. He has actually did a great research, and then he found how the newcomer completely makes the game changing. Okay, so let's see this here. So the red line that goes is the growth of a company, and you can see the two dots. The one is maybe now, and the future is also like bright. They are growing very well. And see what happens when does this new entrance usually enter, is when the offering is more than the required. For example, you see like in pharma. Okay, let us take pharma. So in pharma, we provide so much comfort and so much facilities to the customers. Probably sometimes they don't need it. So that's where the technology enters. And what they will find is, they will find the gap which none of these players have identified. And what they will do is, they will start. And these guys never know that there is a competition, because they are always on the out of the radar of the competition. They don't have even good features. But what they will do is, they will have very selective customers, and they will fulfill their 100% satisfaction. So from there, they start, and within very short time, they actually intersect the main competition, and they will completely overthrow the existing companies. And even it may be the Fortune 500 company, but still they cannot stay in the business because of disruption, if they can't adopt the disruption on time. And most of the organizations fail in, even though they are, the leadership teams are very, they are very good in understanding the market, customer needs, and what are the new markets, expansion, everything. But there is always a failure from them to identify which are the potential breakthrough technologies that are going to disrupt my existing business. And that's where they actually, face a major problem and completely gone into existence. So is my speed okay, or am I speeding or am I going faster?
I think Mr. Verma, it's perfectly fine. You can go ahead the same way.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So let us see about one case study. We'll talk about music industry. So if you are from 80s and 70s, or even you're born in somewhere around 80, 85, you might remember about the CD industry, how we used to go to internet cafe, get the CD and then get the songs. Because at that time, entire industry was actually controlled by these guys called Sony or Warner Brothers. So these are the big players. And even the musicians have to be attached to them. You know, if they want to launch a new musician or they can make or break, everything was handled by those guys. Okay. So what happened at some point of time, those musicians were not happy because they were not getting enough recognition, even though they have a very good talent, but their songs were not given either, you know, good remuneration, or it is only handled by those companies. So what happened was, there was a need. Now, from the customers also not happy. Customers wanted only one song. Why I will buy the entire CD of $10 for my only one song? So that's where the internet came, and then the people started downloading those songs and then mixing and selling in the web you know, internet cafes, especially in India. So that was a time a guy called Sean Fanning. So he identified this problem, and what did he do was, he has seen that the problem is, now people want songs of their favorite and they want it to be find it very easy. So he has integrated the search optimization with collection of the songs, how to find the songs in the internet. And he started in 1999 January with 30 subscribers. Within no time, in November, he has gone into 15,000, and by January, within 1 year, it has gone to 10 lakhs. And by September 2000, it has reached to 3 crore 20 lakhs. And by January 2001, it has reached to 8 crore subscribers. So that is one of the biggest, you know, the wave of disruption, what I could say. And what happened during this time? Now, what was these companies were doing? Like, they started suing Napster, and they started suing on customers. They started suing on vendors. They started, you know, they were havoc. They created a kind of havoc, and they started everybody, and they lost the trust among the customers and everybody. They did not identify. See, this is not that Napster wanted to grow. This is what customer wanted. That's why Napster could able to grow in such a high. But they neglected that. They wanted to, you know, work in their own silos, and that becomes exit for the CDs. Now you don't find CD or CD players, right? So now it becomes, so that's where, but they could finally, what they could do was, they could able to stop the Napster. They sued it, and they actually stopped the Napster business. But they could not stop. There were many other small players, which is actually, you know, created MP3 players and all those things. Even the quality were lesser than the CD, but still people were able to carry them along with them, and then, you know, they started disruption. And that was the time identified big opportunity. So what did he do was, he has now combined CD companies. So he knew that now you should not you know, do the pirated version. I will pay you for whatever, you know, whatever you are incurring the cost. What I will do is, you give it to me. So for example, if he's spending, if he's selling the same iTunes to the customer at $10, he used to not even save single dollar in it. But what he created a business model was, he sold iPods, very expensive iPods. And if you see, within a very, you know, within a year, iPod sales have increased tremendously. So now, if you can find, you know, iTunes songs, and then you have Spotify, and you have Ghana. So you have many cloud platforms. You don't even need to save them in your you know, mobile. So you just need to go and click in the app, then you can play whatever the music you can. So this is how the music industry was disrupted. Now, what is the learning for us? How do we learn as a pharma company from this music industry? Now, we need to identify what are those technologies that are breaking us, and how to actually rather than never think of surviving. Survival is a common man's mindset. You should always thrive. If you want to thrive, you have to learn. So how to learn? You have to be more open. You have to look for the opportunities in the industry, what is happening. You have to actually open to every suggestion, and then identify what is best suits for you. Now let's see what's our next new normal. So we call it as next normal because we have talked much on new normal. Our next normal is virtual presence. We have already started. I think, because now you don't have a opportunity to go out and meet the doctors. Even doctors are not also coming to the clinics. So now there is only one thing. Even to connect with your team also, you have to be virtually present, and to your customers also virtually present, but very, very difficult. Because I still remember when I started my career at 20 years back, even getting a 2 minutes of time in chamber was very, very precious. Now it has gone to seconds. So now we can't expect that customer will listen to us when we are presenting through a virtual thing. But we will see what are those things that we can do. And the rise of augmented reality. I think most of you might have seen Jio has come up with this augmented reality and the spectacles, where you can actually create a 3D models, and you can do a kind of meeting virtually. You can present there. And then we have artificial intelligence. So AI is actually making a lot of breakthroughs in pharma, especially by transforming in drug development, as also tackling the new diseases and drug adherence. This is one of the very, very important aspect of pharma. This is most because every Indian pharma company struggled with this. The people come, they get the medication, but they will not continue with that medication. So adherence is very, very poor, especially in India. But AI will help in drug adherence. That is one ray of hope. And then during the clinical trials, so AI can help. And this is one article which I recently found. So what they did was, in the you all know that in cancer, if it is a third stage, it is third or fourth stage is as good as terminal. Patient may die. You don't even go and get a treatment. Doctor will, if he's a genuine doctor, he will always advise that, okay, now it is difficult to manage it. Only he has to be happy till the end of his life. But there are doctors who can identify cancer with their experience. One of the top doctors. Few doctors are there, but there are very rarely you can find within India, and most of them are US and then other countries. And we have left with, yes, there are great brains still in India, but you have to go to either Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata kind of places like Hyderabad. So what AI did was, they have given more than around 10,000, 20,000 images of different biopsy reports and feed it into the system. So what AI did was, it identified even the earliest form of the abnormalities which may lead to the cancer disease. So which is really a breakthrough, and definitely this will help, especially most of the times, like doctor also can hands off, because he cannot treat a patient of terminally ill patient. But this technology will help the medical fraternity in identifying as well as giving the right and accurate data within very short time, especially the EEGs. If you're into epilepsy kind of therapy, EEG reading is very, very important. EEG and then CT scans. So AI will actually help to identify the early abnormalities, and it will actually completely, now most of the times doctor gives with a doubt, it may happen, but now with the AI they can completely know whether it is a epilepsy, or it's a silent epilepsy, or it's not. So this can definitely help it. And as as we all know that, like, but the giants like Novartis, Pfizer, and AstraZeneca, they have already started, apart from many other Abbott and all. So they already started AI development with either with the technology partners or within their in-house teams. And one more technology that is going to really break through is blockchain. So when the blockchain introduced, it was with the Bitcoin, and Bitcoin has created a lot of the discussions and all those things. And recently that guy also died. But what did it leave to the world is this blockchain. The technology is an amazing technology where you can save the data for 100 years. So especially in pharma, if you are dealing with the exports or to the markets like US, you need to save your data for 10 years. And each state will have a different kind of requirements, and they will ask you, okay, the data of 2009 this SKU and this vendor, how much you sold. If there is anything problem comes in market, you need to submit the data, what was the batch number and what was the the approvals that you got and everything. So this blockchain will help in supply chain for a smooth operations as well as tracking. So now tracking and tracing has becoming now more prominent, because now you can track at primary level, secondary level, and tertiary level. Primary means at the strip level also you can track. You might have seen that some companies will have a barcoding on the strip also. So that will give accurate data. When you wanted to recall, it's very easy. So from which chemist how much stock is there. And then authenticity of returns. This is where most of the companies struggle. Okay, whether I have sold to the same vendor, or he is getting from somebody else, or he is getting from maybe a duplicate. So you can actually track the returns also. And transparency in clinical trials. Yeah, Indian pharma is still taking the baby steps in developing the new drugs and all. But as a pharma industry, this will help you in even clinical trials, because you need to clinical trials happens for 8 years, 10 years, and you need the entire data to get the US FDA or MCA approvals. And then supply chain as a compliance and governance, very, very important. When I worked in IT, I knew what is the importance of compliance. Even with a small thing, you have to block the entire stock and you have to quarantine it until and unless the compliance clears that stock. So compliance and governance plays a very, very important role, and I hope that most of your seniors and you're dealing with factories also, so you know that the importance of this, and blockchain will really help in this. And then adherence to transportation guidelines. So like what we have guidelines in our pharma, the transportation also has guidelines, how much temperature I have to keep, whether if it's a cold chain product, how much time it can be exposed, or whether it should be exposed or not exposed, what is the condition that I should keep. So everything can be tracked through this blockchain. And now the wearable devices. So this wearable devices has already started their entry through Apple as well as the other smart watches, with a market size of 23 billion in 2018 and expected by around 54 billion. So what does these guys do? Like they can give you your pulse rate, they can give you your heart rate, and even Apple, the latest watch, even gives you the ECG. So when the day will come where doctor may get data directly from your watch, and he can see. Otherwise, what happens? They only know when you go to the clinic and they take the ECG, but they don't know what are the other abnormalities during the sleep, during the your exercise, and all those things. Those all things can be stored through these wearable devices, and they are already started entering into the market. And then chatbots. So this is one more technology which is very, very good, and probably you might have seen with this Arogya Setu app. When you have downloaded Arogya Setu app, probably you just it will ask you, you can check your data. So it will ask you, did you get any fever last 2 days? When you say yes, then his question will be different. If you say no, the question will be different. So that is through a chatbot. And then this can be used in drug usages also. Like, most of the times we don't know what is our usages, and what is the limitations of the drug and side effects. Sometimes you need not to go into the every time to the Google, but yes, you can still do it from that app if the company provides. The kind of anxiety of treatment, most of the people will have an anxiety whether if this drug is going to give me side effects or whether it's going to worsen my existing conditions. So these kind of things, because these are 90% of the objections are similar, so that can be fed into the mission, and mission will automatically gives the answers. And when they could not answer those questions, they will throw it to the people who are sitting in the backside, to the human this thing. Okay, and then so till now we have seen what is the process of communication and different technologies that has actually entered into the pharma, and how those technologies are going to help us in the future. Now coming into the most important part, which is, we call it as digital, but now most of them is calling as physical. I recently learned this word from one of my speakers in the forum. So physical means it is still digital, but still physical. So you are keeping both. It's a kind of a combination of both physical and digital. So what are coming, like CLM, closed loop marketing. I think somebody's mic is mute, unmute. So kindly mute your mic. CRM, e-detailing, emails, webinars, omni-channel, and landing pages. So this have already, most of the companies have already started, especially the big companies. And what I could find was most of them are either, because it's in a learning phase, and definitely not everybody knows the benefits or even how to actually handle completely these technologies. So we are just chilling. The industry is learning, and we started with webinars, and then we started with emails. Now every day we are sending hundreds of emails to the doctors, or we are sending the WhatsApp messages. Sometimes we are putting our status in the WhatsApp, so that some of your close doctors may see what the new drug has come. So this kind of marketing things that we are already doing. Okay. And then social media. This is one very, very important aspect which pharma has still restricted with only the corporate level. So most of the big companies now has Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, and they have Instagram pages, but they are only using it for promotion of their corporate. Like for example, if the quarter results or financial results, or kind of if they have launched some new product for the COVID, so they are using for these things. And apart from that, I have seen these companies, like they also put the like Mankind, so they always give some kind of tips how to be safe during the COVID. Or they will Sun Pharma says that okay, salute to the warriors. So Cipla always puts their corporate as well as their their people. They always promote their people. So this kind of things are happening at very, very bits and pieces, and very at a corporate level. But if you see the other industries, they have already done a lot, and pharma is just taking the baby steps there. Now we will see what did COVID do. Okay. So what COVID did was, it actually eliminated the clutter, and it is now putting us in such a situation that you are only confined to the very, very basic. So there is no hi-fi, there is no Wi-Fi is there, but there is no hi-fi cards, and then you can't even wear your wristwatch. So you don't need it because you're sitting at home. So it has created actually what is really meaningful, and what is most important, and what is necessary. And it has eliminated things like for example, in the pharma, how much we used to spend on printed material? It was on crores, maybe around 300, 400 crores. And that entire industry probably now has completely stand still. There, you cannot even carry LBL, or you cannot detail. So that has completely stopped. Now you are in a situation where it's like you're kept in a that the big wave, and now you have to know swimming, otherwise it's difficult for you to survive. So and with the so you will leave all those things that weighted you, and only thing weigh you. So only you are with the things that will make you survive and thrive. Let's see what are those things. So most of you will agree with me that this is the most important guy in the organization. Whether you talk about a CEO, you may say that the CEO is most important, or marketing may be most important. But as for, because I have done, I have worked as a representative, I have worked as a marketing manager, I have worked as a IT head, I have worked as a sales head. So I learned only one thing. This is the soldier, and he only, he's a frontline soldier who is saving the entire organization. But today, he is in need, he is in trouble, and he needs desperately our help, because his basic thing is like, he cannot even stay at home. He is so desperate, he always wants to go and meet the doctors. Even at I still remember, we used to make a calls at 1 o'clock in the early morning. So, and it's with a passion, it's not with the pressure. And he lost the sales because he cannot able to meet, and doctors are all not coming to the their clinics. And COVID has created a lot of trouble to this guy and created an uncertainty. But do you think that he is not capable? He is capable, but only thing is he needs new skills now. So what skills he needs is, he needs reskilling and upskilling. And he needs reskilling on soft skills, which already he has, because he was already interacting with most of the customers, and he has been developed in that soft skills and communication skills. But those communication skills will not survive the purpose, because now the situation is completely different. So he need to be trained on those skills. And then upskills, like consultative selling. So now, for example, if he has given a platform, now even the organization need to think about the KPIs. You cannot expect any person to go and meet in the 10 doctors per day or 12 doctors per day. Even if we can make 2 calls, and 1 call with 10 minutes and 1 call with 12 minutes, that's more than enough, because it's now quality is more important than quantity. If he can engage, he can talk something sense, and he can bring some relationship building. That is very, very important. Okay. And then technology know-how. Most of the, this is very, very big challenge, because I still remember when I was studying MBA, I always have a concept that, I can work anywhere, but not in pharma. Because I have seen one of my friend who struggled like anything, because he was just a graduate and he applied for every job, but he did not get anything. So what is the last resort? Yes, he got a offer from pharma company. So if nowhere you get a job, you always can have a, pharma can always accommodate those guys. And those broken guys were actually the spine, because they failed many times, and they know what is the importance of life, and they know how to rise up every time they fall. And that is the beauty of Indian pharma industry. Why still the pharma is still existing is because of these guys who are like real warriors. And and today being the 1st of August, a national representative day, I salute to all of them, and including me and most of you. Thank you very much. And then other skills he requires is e-skills and empathy. So why empathy? This is very much required at the top management level. In sales, we always believe, most of the times probably we believe that we have to put a lot of pressure. We have to, and I have seen some people will talk filthy language also, and they talk everything, all those things. Now those things will not work. I'm telling you guys seriously, nothing will work. Only thing, how soft you are, how you are understanding your person, his personal and his professional both. If you don't understand how many people are there in his home as a manager, then I don't call you as a leader. You are still confined to as a manager. So you need to know what is his physical condition and what is his mental condition, and how you can improve him first. And then yes, definitely he will put your full heart and soul into your team. And then coming to the customer front. Okay, so we discussed about the sales representative, which is very who is our frontline warrior. And now the important one is the customer. So we have many customers, like we have chemists, we have stockists, and we have doctors, and also we have paramedics. But the most important ones are the doctors. Why? Because the pharma industry is completely based on prescription based, and that was there from the years, and that will continue for the next future also, and there is no doubt in it. So now what you need to understand about customer is understand the customer persona. So what is customer persona? We'll talk in the next slides. And what are his pain points? If you don't understand his pain points, you can't promote anything, because whatever I am communicating should give him some kind of solution or kind of some help to the customer, and then how the solution is helping to them. So these three things are very much required from customer front. Okay, so let us see what is customer persona. Just give me 1 minute. I need to now have some water. I think people are following till now.
Yes, Mr. Verma.
Thank you.
Now I request the all participants to just put the question in the chat box, so that it will be enable us to shoot it at the end.
Correct. So till now we have discussed about the process of communication and then technologies. So if you have any questions on those fronts, definitely you can put. Probably Mr. Kalaraj, you need to help me in that, finding out those questions after the session. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. So now we will talk about the customer persona. So probably this is a very new word to most of us. We usually call as a doctor profile, but in social media or digital marketing terms, it is called customer persona. So we'll see what is persona. So generally what we have in pharma is we have this personal profile, and I think we have many other things. This is just an example of his name, contact number, and mail ID that I have given. But there are the n number of things that we can collect as a part of personal profile. And then we also collect the professional profile, which will help us and which will help all these years to connect with him and to make our company more progressive. But what is missing is this piece, digital profile. Now it's time for us to understand first the digital etiquettes and digital preferences, and what are the platforms he is present, whether he is on Facebook or whether he comes on mostly on Instagram, or there are many number. You need not to present everywhere, but you need to understand where your customers are. Very important. And then what is his technology adoption level? Can we do anything on that? So can we create a platform where probably they can call their different experts, and then they will have their sessions on digital, because they also need digital now. They have to connect with their patients, and they have to connect with their colleagues, as well as with their professors, right? And then you need to understand whether he is an influencer or a follower. So this will help you. It's like a now digital KOL. Now you can identify who are your digital KOLs, and you can call them, and then probably you can they will bring in the together all the other participants, all other followers, and then what is the preferred medium. So this is very, very important, because what is happening? So we are sending 100 mails. For example, I am a representative. I'm sending 100 mails, and only 5 mails are opened by the doctors. And out of 5 mails, 3 has not even seen the content. Okay, because I send to entire my MSL without knowing whether he prefers email, or he prefers a simple SMS, or he prefers a WhatsApp message, or he prefers any other medium. I don't know anything. So I'm just, company has given me, and it's not the problem of the medical representative, I'm telling you. The company is forcing them to do that, and those guys don't have any chance. So this message is to the organization, head of the organizations. Now you need to understand first the customer, what is their preferences, where they're present, and what should be my strategy. Rather than running fast in a wrong direction, wait, understand, and then start. Even though you start late, but still you can make leaps and bounds in the in the journey. So that is what I have seen in the industry, and what is actually required. And then what are the different devices that he uses, whether he is using iOS, like iPhone or Android phones. So these are the things. Apart from, there may be many things. This is what just I come to know through my experience. But I am telling you, I am not into the sales right now. So probably you guys know much better than me. So you need to identify what are those behaviors, what I need to profile. So we talked about customer persona, right? Hope everybody understood about the persona. And now we'll talk about the journey, which we never actually discussed in the pharma. So what do you mean by customer journey? So in any customer, for example, you take you as a Amazon customer, for example. So what you will do, you will not immediately go and download the Amazon app and you will buy, right? First you will search. That is called, the kind of you do some kind of research. First you search in the Google, you will find out what are the websites available for this product. I want to buy this product. And then you will do research, or you will talk to your peers. That is called the next stage. And then you will be happy, and then you will buy it. And once you receive it, then you probably share with your friends. So these are 4 different types of phases which you need to now map in pharma. So let us see what are those. Number 1 is awareness. So in this awareness stage, usually the customer is looking for the information. So now you need to be very active as an organization, where he is looking, whether he is looking for the articles. If somebody is very academically very strong and he wanted to know more about, for example, COVID management, or he wanted to know about how to manage a heart patient, then you may put some blogs, and then you can give links to those doctors. So that means that is called awareness stage. So you need to identify how many of my entire 100 doctors, how many are in my awareness stage, and then how many are in my consideration stage. What is consideration? That means he has already done, he has searched and he found 1 or 2 websites, and he wanted to now go with that company. Okay, so now he want to take a decision. So he is looking for what are the available options to me in this consideration stage. And number 3 is, after thorough consideration, he will go to the decision. He will take a decision. Now, okay, I want to buy, or I want to now prescribe this band. So this is called decision. This will be taken after the thorough research, and once he is satisfied, and once he know that, okay, I want to go with this company, now he will start prescribing. And then customer delight. Customer delight is something which is very few companies can achieve, but this is the stage where actually you can make your company prosperous. This is where he becomes a ambassador, a brand ambassador to you. Like, the moment he is happy with your product, then he will call your friends, or he will maybe post in his group yeah, this is the guy whom you can actually approach for these needs. And then it's again a cycle, like that will attract other customers. Then you need to identify whether they are in a what stage. Now I ask all the participants, can you just talk about all the, just put what are the 4 phases that we discussed. What is the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4 of the customer journey? Just put it in the chat box. What are those journey phases?
So kindly put it in the chat box. What all things we have been discussing now?
So we discussed about 4 phases of customer journey, right? So what is the first stage, second, third, and fourth stage? Yeah, customer, personal. Okay. Awareness, consideration, decision. Very good. Manoj Kumar. Awareness, consideration, decision, and customer delight. Excellent. Awareness, consideration, decision making, and consistent delight. Perfect. Perfect. I think, yeah, great. So Senthil, Amit, and Vineet. So most of them are actually. I just wanted to see whether people are sleeping or I'm making boring session. Okay, great. I think you understood all the 4 phases of customer journey. So this is what the 4 phases: awareness, consideration, decision, and delight. Yeah, thank you very much. So now let's go to the next thing. So we discussed about our sales, what we need to do at sales, what we need to do at customer level, and now we'll see what is required at marketing. Okay, how many of you had, if you are working in a big company, probably you will have a digital wing. Otherwise, we never even thought of digitalization, right? So even if I have a small company, I will not think of digitalization because I thought that it costs money again. I know I have to invest in it. And these big companies, even when I was working as a digital specialist in Cipla, so we used to have a wing called digital marketing and marketing separately. And this is common across all the organizations now. But now what will happen is, now there will be no separate digital or no separate SFE. Now SFE digital is a part of marketing. So if you're a marketing manager or if you're a product manager, now you're not just a marketing manager, you are a digital marketing manager. So this is very clear and straight. So this is how the organizations looks like, with sales, HR, finance, SEM, marketing, digital, SFE, and IT. Now becomes so part of. So now marketing will play very important role, and the major role will be as a, now you should be now knowing about the digital. Now you should be knowing about the analytical. So these 2 are the most important skills now than ever. Previously, you used to be only creative, and you need to know how to how to create my brand and how to actually motivate my team so that I will get and I should know reading the the data, whatever has been I'm getting from, whether from IMS or any other the data. But now you yourself has to become a analytical guy as well as a digital guy, because now it's become your integral part. So the faster you learn, the better you become, and the more effective marketing manager you can be. But as a marketing, there are 3 things which are very, very basic as well as most important thing. What you need to do is, number 1, content, number 2, the channel, and number 3, P2P. So I'll tell you one by one. What is content? Most of the times you might have heard content is king, but I call content is queen, because queen can control even king. So what does this content will do? Like for example, you have identified, okay, you have now taken the customer persona, and you know what are those customer preferences, how many of them are digital savvy, how many of them wanted to upgrade, and how many are influencers and how many are followers. So everything you have now, right? So that is the basic thing. And then you trained your sales guys. But now if you don't have a content, good content, you cannot attract your customer persona. So if he has to join your network, then you need a great content. So content, very, very important. And then what is next? The channel. You don't just need to send, for example, I am working as a marketing manager and sending to my, I have this 10,000 doctors list with me at head office. Okay. If I send the mails to, or I know that, okay, 10 people need mail, 10 people need, or 5,000 people need mail, and another 3,000 prefer WhatsApp, another 2,000 prefer message. I send it. Now you put in chat box whether this will be successful or not successful. You can just say yes or no. So you're sitting at head office and you're sending a communication. You had an excellent content, and the channel also. Okay, you have identified a set of doctors are interested in email. They can only reachable through email. The others can be reachable through WhatsApp, and others through other medium. And you send from head office. Okay, so whether you will be successful. If you are successful, you feel you are successful, you can just say yes, or else you can say no. Santal says no. Amit says no. Great. Srinivas Rao, for sure it will be impactful. Yes, it will be impactful, but I am asking whether can the organization survive by bypassing the sales? So this is my question. Everything I'm operating from head office. I don't want to touch the guys. No, I don't want, because I'm not confident that they can actually bring my message to them, to the doctors. Vinny Jain, no. Surendra Babu, no. Excellent. So I got the message. You cannot bypass our soldier. He is the frontline warrior, and without him you cannot do. But this is what some of the, maybe even if it's a small company or a big company, you need to have the sales team, and because they are the bridge between your customer and you. And what you can do is you can create a content. If you are not confident on their skills, you give them the content. Or even if you think that if you give them the content, they are not able to serve to the customers, you directly send it to the customers through these people, through the sales people. But the now challenge is, okay, I have sent the content to the market or to the customers. But now question is, I don't know whether how many have, maybe my only representatives knows, or even he's also doesn't know how many has responded. So what is now, by sitting at head office as a marketing head, I know I wanted to track, even though I have connected through my channel of sales representatives, how many of them have actually utilized of their customers, how many of them opened, and how many of them have seen that link, and how many of them are not even opened. So I want to have a central control with tracking facility, but still I will not bypass my sales rep. So this should be the strategy which can definitely work in Indian pharma, because maybe if you see the other countries like in Europe, you will not find not more than a big company like big companies will have not more than 10 representatives, or sometimes you find only 1 or 2, because that's where everything is managed through channels. You have a P2P party, and you logistics partner. You send the stock to them, and they will do the stock supply. In US, you have only 5 partners, ABC, and then so there are exactly 5 partners who can control 95% of the market. So in those countries, yes, probably you may directly connect, but still there also sales plays a very important role, because why I am telling you, you cannot bypass, or you should not bypass the sales, is they are the one who are creating the value. They are creating the connections. That is called my next, this thing is P2P, person to person. So they are actually the hub who are creating, or see, who is the face of your organization? It's a sales guy. And because from head office, how many times we can go and how many doctors we can meet? It's only they who day in day out they're meeting, even they are talking on the phone also because of the relationships. So very, very important thing is the content, the channel, and then how do you track and trace the content, and then through this sales guys and through the P2P. And there are many companies which are now providing. I've seen small companies started their services in pharma, and they're extremely helping the organizations to scale up. And what are the other skills that our marketing teams require is the creativity, because now you are connecting through them through your electronic medium. So you need to have a more visual content and know how to be more creative. Otherwise, I'm sending that 10 bullet points and all those things will create a mess, and nobody is interested in watching those slides or videos. So you need to know how to create those kind of the good presentations through creativity. And then storytelling. It's time for you to adopt this storytelling skills, because this is the second most important. Because we have been brought up with stories from our childhood through our parents or grandparents, and our brains are so much addicted to that if you are bringing a good story, people will always love to listen. So you need to be more creative, a guy with storytelling techniques and digital. So you need to adopt the digital skills so that you can actually more effective, and you should know what is working, what is not working, and you can actually have a. So here digital does not mean that only you should have a IT skills. You should know how to track, and you should know who are the vendors available and what are the companies that can help me, and you should know the analytical skills. So these are the three things which are very, very required for the marketing people or for the marketing teams. Okay, so let's see what is way ahead. So in the people front, we already discussed they need to be reskilled and upskilled, and training should come before targeting. Don't just hit the market in hurry. First, train your soldiers. Train your soldiers, give them some arms so that when they go to the battlefield, they know how to protect themselves as well as give laurels to the organization. Otherwise, what happens? You will pressurize on the sales. They can also not do anything, because now the community threat has, the community spread has already started in India. They cannot. I have seen, even most of my juniors have affected with COVID. So that does not work. You need to upskill him and reskill him. And relationship with customers. So if you have a team who are seniors and who have a very good relationship with the customers, then you are the luckiest. I'm telling you, you are the luckiest. Only you have to do only one thing is just adopt technology. Otherwise, you have everything. You have a team, and you have customers who are loyal to you and who can be actually be partner with you. And during this crisis also, they are still with you. That means you only thing is you have to know about what are the technologies available and how I can connect with them and how I can help them. How my solution. For example, a doctor wants to start his clinic through e-medium, through a website. You can suggest a vendor. Probably you can. So I tell you an example. So when most of the doctors are fed up with the webinars, even though they are helping them in some way, getting the education, but they cannot attend more than 1 or 2 webinars every day, right? So every company has come up with a webinar, and he has to attend 5-6 webinars in a day. So literally, that is impossible for any human. So they started not even attending some good webinars. But one of the company, what they did was, they have taken a Zoom or Google paid version, and they gave to the doctors. They told that they are very close to the doctors. One segment, for example, I am very close to the neurologists. So I went and I told them, sir, I am giving you this platform. So I will manage my entire back-end operations. What you have to do is you use it, and then we will take care of, you use it. You call your students, you call your friends, and you use this as a platform. What we will do is we will be just a facilitator. That should be the way of communication right now. That should be the, the response what you have to do right now. Because when he himself is fighting with his family, with his, with his own struggles, you cannot go and ask him, sir, can I get the prescription for this product? Very, very, bad way of communicating, or, very wrong way of communicating. And then data analytics becomes an integral part of now the commercial teams. Now it's not a different team altogether. Now every commercial team should be an analytical team, because now the journey has started from information to insights. I think last week most of you might have attended Mr. Kalara's session on how we can actually get insights from the information. So the journey has already started, and you need to be more effective in that. So the need of the hour is learning adoption, very important skill, which actually makes you as a leader. So you have to learn the new skills, and then remember, guys, it's a very natural way of thing. Unlearn, learn, and relearn. So without that, you cannot call it as a life. And the beauty comes when you know that I'm going to lose this, yes, but for the better thing. So you'll leave the old habits, old things what might have worked. Now understand what actually works now, and then come into the things. And all the other functions now should work in coordination with, now there will be no different departments. Now it's an entire whole unit. In SAP, we call it as an integrated software because it integrates every department: marketing, sales, HR, finance, SCM. So now the organizations should now run like this with a combined unit. Now finance cannot say that this is not my part. Everybody is a part of the organizational growth and in a direction. So that is how only you can progress. Finally, with the Steve Jobs quote, it's not a faith in technology, but it's a faith in people that will make you prosperous and take you the next steps. Thank you very much for your patient listening, and I hope that I have addressed a few of the things probably today, and probably will meet you in the future.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Verma. Can you just unshare it so that I can put my slide share?
Yes, sure. So I have questions. Maybe we'll take it later.
No, I think we can run the question right now before going there. Then we can come to the other questions. Yeah. So we have received a couple of questions during the time of registration. So Mr. Varwal, take up that questions now. So that, meanwhile, you can put your questions in the chat box. So we will keep, taking them and start doing it. I think now you can take the session, continue with your, you want to use the slide, you can still continue with your slide and start doing it. And meanwhile, we will get it into the thing. And then I'm just keeping my feedback form link into the chat box. So kindly please provide the feedback to those people who are other people who are just observing. Thank you. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. So the question is, what is the future of Indian pharma market? I think these are the questions we received yesterday. So the future is bright. So what I understood is the pharma is learning fast and actually adopting the technologies, and I could see a lot of new ventures also into the digital age, and definitely the bright future for the pharma market. And I have a very bright hope on that. And the next question is strategies to improve sales for launching companies during the pandemic. I think we have already gone through some of the the technologies that you can. So if it is a small company, like for example, I am having my own company with a small the number of teams and all. So definitely I will not be looking at AI, robotics, and all those things. So what I need is, yes, still I need the digital adoption. Maybe I need to first, what I have to do is, for a launching company, first thing what you have to do is first to identify who is your customers, and then bring all the customer persona and identify what is the journey where they are in, and how to launch that product. So now your customer persona as well as your people skills. So these two things play a very, very important role in building the brand. I think, does that uh, answer the question? So that is one strategy. There are many strategies. Apart from that, you need to see when you're launching any product. Right now you cannot launch because now it's a until and unless it's a any nutraceutical or anything that address the current challenges. Otherwise, it is there is no point in launching any product which is for the hypertension kind of thing. But only what you can do is now you can get a time to do a research on their customer profile and persona, and then find out what are the ways how you can actually approach, so that you can create a awareness as well as create a brand building through that. How to develop communication in building brand post COVID? Yeah, this is very clear. You need to be more, you need to adopt a few digital tools, but more importantly, what you need to to make a communication, building a communication is, see, how do you actually build a communication? For example, you are a leader or you are heading a department and you're communicating something, the people may not take immediately until unless they are very, they consider you as a serious guy, or they consider you as a very as a leadership qualities. Otherwise, they will not take it. If you are saying that tomorrow everybody will meet at 9 and you yourself come at 10 o'clock, people will not take your communication. So to develop communication, you need to first develop your consistency, your character, as well as your commitments. Then only communication can be built, whether it's today, tomorrow, or even during this post-COVID scenario. And what is the best concept of communication for customers? And it's, yes, without a doubt, it's a digital communication along with the empathy. So these two plays a very important role. How can we go beyond simple visual aid and LBL to position our brand in minds of potential customers? Very, very good question. Yeah, we have been actually doing from last 10, 15, 20, 50 years, 100 years through a visual aid and LBL. So these are the two tools we usually use for the promotion of our products. But now they are gone. So now the thing is, now you need to identify how to actually bring that brand into customer is first you need to build your brand first. As a Senthil, as a Kalairas, as a ICS Verma, you need to bring your brand first before building the product brand. So if they like you as a person, whatever you give, they will always take. So I tell you an example. When I was working in sales and I was taking care of the team, when a product manager, they usually calls, they calls and they will tell, ICS, this sale has not happened. Why? What are you doing? And for those calls, I used to answer them, but I never tell my team to help those kind of people. But I used to tell those, if somebody calls me and tells, ICS, actually, you are doing great. Actually, last month you have done 100, but now we are expecting 500 from you. And two of your colleagues have already achieved maybe 550 and 100. So can you just talk to your team? Then I will. So those kind of product managers, when you will actually take it as a ownership, and then you will communicate to your teams. So similarly, even if it is a post-COVID also, you need to build, as a marketing manager, you need to build your brand in the minds and hearts of your sales team. If you could able to build your brand in them, you are 90% successful. The only 10% what they have to do is communicate to the customer, which through the skills that you are going to develop him. And then new communication in pharma and the methodology to execute. Yeah. So the new communication is, yes, it's digital, social, and many more. Probably because my knowledge is very limited in that. But whatever I knew, I have discussed today. But there are many other technologies which are coming in. So those are the things. And methodology, when you are executing any kind of technology or any new thing, understand one thing, there will be a resistance. Definitely the first thing, because people always resist something which is unknown. So that is a very it's a human nature, and you are actually taking him from his comfort zone to the unknown area. So at the very outset, you will always find the rebel, and you will find those contradictions, and you will find that people will oppose you. But what you can do is that's where the change management. As a leader, you have to work on your change management. You have to work with them. You have to counsel them, and you have to make them understand how that new change is going to bring benefit. His benefit. What is his benefit? Okay, companies get sales, but what is his benefit out of that change? You need to communicate, and it's not that easy. So it has actually, a lot of techniques which you need to use. Usually, in the project management, they teach you like, first you identify what are those risk areas which you can communicate, and then be transparent. You also know that this is going to change their working profile, or it's going to affect their existing working standards, but be transparent. So the transparency will bring at least 80% of the complications down. Then people will understand, yes, sir is telling something which is helpful to me, and then they will start adopting. And always there are early adopters in the team. You identify who are those early adopters, and through them you actually kind of percolate that message with the other colleagues. That's the best methodology which I succeeded in my career. And then, what is the future of Indian pharma? Yes, we have already, I think this is repeated. This question is repeated. And I think I missed one more question, Ms. Kallaraj. If any other questions that we have?
Yeah, we have a couple of more questions that I will just keep shooting to you. Then we can discuss on that.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, fine. Now.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. I think before we move into the other question answer session, first we'll have a kind of feedback. I have given the link. Kindly please take it and share your feedback. I think it's a really excellent session. I think I would see this way. Mr. Verma, ICS stands for Impressive Communication Session. I think this everybody will agree with me. Let me give a very brief summary what we have seen. I think he has taken through us the process of communication, and especially he discussed on the transactional model, where he was touching on co-creation of meaning, especially on social, physical, psychological, cultural, and relationship. Second, he is talking about the digital disruption, which is talking about the continuous evolutionary and incremental and conservative measures, which is actually making the digital disruption live. Third, you've been discussing on the new normal, which we have been talking on the virtual presence, what the actual things are happening on that today. And fourth, we have been discussing on the customer persona, which actually is talking about three things. Today, we have been seeing the profile, personal and professional. This is what happening. Today, the one which have been added along with that is a digital. If I want to see the doctor now, I am not only see only doctor, what is age, experience, qualification, what is other, kind of academic performance and other things. Now also see that what is the digital knowledge, what is the digital in-depth understanding he has. So we want to see the profile. So this is actually now become a part and parcel of our customer building exercise. Then next, the last one, which we are talking about the customer journey, which we have been discussing very interestingly on the awareness, consideration, decision, and delight. This is actually, I think, really a marvelous session, and this is a kind of feedback as well as we received exhaustive and detailed presentation in a very simplistic manner. This is from the audience. True creative will be very, very critical for attraction, and it's a very good presentation. I think this is what I think I want to say. Now we'll move on to a couple of things on the question. One of the question I just want to talk about is I come to understand that certain countries are moving towards generic prescription rather than the brand prescription. How will this change the communication process?
Yeah, very, very, very good question. I think most of the companies, even US, is now becoming more, giving more this thing to the generic rather than into the branded, because they always branded always cost are higher when compared to the generic. So now, what kind of communication we require is everywhere. That starts with me. So as if I'm a leader, so how I'm building my brand first, and then communicating it through the channels, choosing the channels. If it is exports, the kind of you are dealing with exports and those things, you're dealing a remote team. Again, the kind of you cannot know what is their emotions and how they are, and what is the company position is there. So you need to understand their as a human first, and then once you are talking, see what I have seen is during all these levels of my career, I have many brothers and brother-in-laws. So when you're working in an organization like a brothers, sisters, and brother-in-laws, so you will stick to the organization for a longer time, and you will build a kind of relationship. So when you build a relationship, they will sell for you. Similarly, so now it is when it's converting into branded to the generic. Now even the Indian pharma after the COVID has responded very fastly, and now even we have addressing the challenges of the API also. So a lot of support from the government is also there. So the now Indian pharma has a very good position. Now it is the third biggest industry across the world, and it's going to be even growing more. So as a brand, how you need to communicate is when you are reaching to the other countries. If it is other countries, then you have regulatories are more important than your branding. So there you have to first file for the your product, and you need to sometimes I have seen that in South Africa, if you have to file for a product, you have to even submit your laptop also with that report. So there are each country will have a different kind of regulatories and regulations. So you need to find out what are the products which are off patent for the next few years, and then identify which countries are more again scope for those products, and then file regulations and then all those things. That's why I could find, if you find the country heads of these companies, most of the Indian companies or the other pharma companies, Indians are more than 50% who are heading the country heads of all the Asian countries and all these African countries and Europe. Because after working here, the most of them are going to the international, and they are learning those skills of identifying what is the regulatory requirements there, and then how to actually file. It will take at least 1 year. If you are looking for countries like Peru, Chile, and all, it will take 1 year for only getting the approvals, because there the normal pharmacies are not there. It's mostly 90% is government and only 10% is the trade. So each country will have a different kind of dynamics, so that can be learned through the experience, and then probably there are people who are already working. Probably you can connect with them, and then they can help you. So it is not one fit all. Each country and each continent has a different way of working.
Yeah, the next question is how to generate the new customers in this crisis.
Yeah, generating new customers definitely is a difficult one, because even if you are finding existing customer to hold, that itself is more than challenging. But finding or generating new customers, maybe through finding out who are the customers who are actually looking for some solutions. If you identify those, especially if the customer is a very young guy and wanted to learn something on technology, so probably you can connect with him through whatever the channel he is using, through a Facebook or through Instagram, the way Mr. Kalaraj has reached to me. So we never met before that, but we could now become good friends. So you can actually through you need to identify where he is present and how you can connect with him, and then start. It's again one-to-one. It's not like you can reach 100 people at a time. It's a one-to-one connection, and quality is more important than the quantity. You need to identify what persona he is, and then from there you have to actually start to identify whether he can be convertible to me or not.
I think that sounds great. Third is the innovative and sustainable HCP engagement through digital. It's been putting as a question. See how the HCP engagement to be making in digitals.
So
this,
this is
yeah.
like in an organization you wanted to engage, or like you wanted to give something, a tool to the HCPs. What is the question actually?
If I'm right, I think he just want to see how the innovative and sustainable HCP engagement should be done using digital.
Yeah. So there are small companies which have already started providing the digital services. You have SKB Infocom, and then you have Sirius, and you have Techizer. So these are specifically pharma technology companies. So what they are doing is they were there from the pre-COVID era. So they understood what is the how the pharma was and what pharma needed. So these companies are giving more of tools which you can actually engage the HCPs.
Great. Then the another interesting question is,
Yeah,
see, even
yeah.
today to make noodles, we need 2 minutes. But he's asking how to build a brand in 1 minute.
You cannot build a brand in 1 minute. So that is
Correct.
very clear, and it needs. See, it's like a birth of a baby. You cannot employ 9 people to get one baby in 1 month. You have to wait for 9 months.
Correct. I think that sounds right, actually.
Thank you.
So again, I'm requesting again to just share your feedback in the chat box, whatever I mentioned. Now, we'll just move on to the two announcements which we are going to have it. We'll be having a 11th webinar, that is next week, next Saturday. We'll be having a webinar. This is actually, we're going to have the webinar with one Miss Ashwini Unnikrishnan. She's actually a soft skill trainer from HP Enterprise. I have seen her presentation was really good. Now, the thing is, it will be very relevant today because we have been doing webinars everywhere. Okay, we have been using mobile or laptop or the various modes we have been using the webinar. But how to make it really effective, and especially when it comes to a customer connect. So this is actually a kind of, she's going to really take a very live session on that, and she's been actually been interacting with the various institution and various companies, corporates on these sessions as a soft skill trainer. So she has accepted to come and give the session on that. So I request everybody to join the session the coming week. Then what we are talking about, that paper presentation for our webinar web meet. August 15th, we are having a web meet, which I request all of you just to give your paper presentation. Submit your paper, and this is a good opportunity to showcase your achievement in the form of branding. Many times what happened, this is a crisis time. It's a once in a history, actually. If it really, it's a lifetime achievement. So that basically what we need to do is we need to capture the moment. It is very important. Many times, in our life, we go to many places, but what happens is we never capture the photo or that, so that moment not being captured. So this is a real golden opportunity for you guys to please, give a thought. What are the achievement you have done in this time, like COVID time? So you just make it, put it as a paper, and just present it. So we'll be keeping a forum and giving a platform on this August 15th. So submit your paper. So we kept the dates on till August 5th. You can actually submit the papers. So we will be having a panel of the people. Mr. Vivek Hattangadi, Mr. Vijendran is joining with us along with this team, and Mr. Prashant Menon and Mr. Sandeep Bhattacharya. So this is, we'll be having a kind of a speech, and also we'll be having a panel discussion. So as I told you that we will be having this discussion, and where the selected papers also will be announced in the meeting, and the papers will be slotted to the presentation on the 16th, the next day. So we'll be having actually a planning to celebrate this Independence Day 2 days, 15th and 16th. So where we need really your support, to continue your support. I already got a very good number of registration already. What actually I expect, as I told you, that we need your support or your participation in terms of not only as a delegate, also to present you yourself, and it's an opportunity for you, and this is where you can actually bring up your levels, right? Now we'll with this, any other questions are there? I think you can just ask me.
Yeah. I think Mr. Senthil's question was how
Yeah.
to, because you are getting only 1 minute in a clinic, so how to
Yeah.
register brand rather than building a brand? That's a valid question. Because even I don't think that you get a 1 minute also right now physically, but post COVID also, if you get even half the second, half the minute, so how do you create your impression? So that what I have seen, it's my personal experience. Doctors actually, what they do is they observe you. Beginning, they will not give you the time. Most of the time, they will reject you to see how consistent you are and how serious you are about that. What is your passion towards the profession? And once they know that you are a guy who actually who want to be a partner for him in the future, then he will start allowing slowly. So that is through the communication. So for example, if a doctor is interested in technology, you can talk on technology. If he's interested in something or films, there is no harm in talking about the new film that is released, and then you finally ask about your product. So there is no one fix, but what I learned was they will always test. I've seen, especially the senior doctors, they will always test, because they have seen hundreds and hundreds of representatives a day. So they want to filter out who are the 10 people I wanted to meet for my next 2-3 years. So you should be the one among them through your consistency and through a sensible talk. So that can be, now we have got an opportunity to identify what are his digital preferences. If you know that he is not digitally great equipped, probably you can help him in giving him some kind of tools. So this will actually, once you start helping him, he will not forget you. Even I get some calls from my doctors whom I met him 15 years back. Still they are my best friends, and I cannot actually even give them any sponsorship. They just wanted a good friend for life. I hope
yeah, great. I think this meeting is graced with a couple of my senior colleagues, especially to name a few: Mr. Rajesh Kohli, Mr. Kata, Mr. Naresh Katara, and Mr. Arun. And there are many other friends, good friends are there, who are coming to this meeting. So I request if any of them want to write to share a few words, so they can unmute, they can say a few words about the session, and any other things they can suggest, you can just put it before we closing the session. Mr. Arun, would like to share a few points?
Yeah, Kalai Rajesh here.
Yes, Mr. Rajesh.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to Mr. Verma. I think it was a very well done session, and there are a few things which as I look at his presentation, some concepts are already established in marketing, like awareness, and then you evaluate, and then you arrive at a decision. I think it's an opportunity to reinforce those and then put it in the present context when you are not able to meet in person. I think that what makes this presentation wholesome and complete in all respects. So my congrats to Mr. Verma. It was a very well done presentation.
Rajesh, yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Mr. Naresh, I have you in board now. I would like to share a few words. Mr. Senthil, you want to say something?
Yeah, the session, I have attended Mr. Verma session from last 1 month.
Oh.
The first session, it was very much impressive. And now today also, it is more than that.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and the communication part, I think he is very expert in communication.
So that's why I was telling that ICS.
Understanding, sir. Thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, Mr. Naresh or anyone, Mr. Vineet, any other senior colleagues want to just say anything? I think before we closing, I have one good guest, Mr. Sunil, who's joining from Dubai. If he's then our board, I think he can just say a few words. So Sunil? Yeah. Mr. Vineet? Yeah, Mr. Vineet.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Verma. It was a wonderful session by you. I think the digital profile that generally when we are deciding on the customer profiling, I think the digital part is a very essential thing that it enhances our thought process in this digital age. And some of the finer points where understanding about the digital profile, the type of channel they choose, right? And there are many other things that which you have just spoken about, which will help us to enhance, especially the younger doctor which are coming. They generally they would like to get more digitally connected rather than talking about the usual way of meeting them physically.
Yes.
So I think this is a wonderful addition in going forward in understanding our customer list.
Thank you, Mr. Vinod.
Great. I think it's a great. I mean, thank you.
One Srinivas Rao, he
Yeah.
actually, we started together in Guntur. So Srinivas,
Oh, okay. Lovely.
yeah, so there are many people. Surendra, he was reporting to me when I was in Guntur. There are many people
Oh.
joining the team. Actually, I left sales long back. I was into IT from last 7 years. So, but still I had touch with these guys, amazing guys. Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much. As I always say at the end of the thing, never stop learning because life never stops teaching. So thank you very much for being with us. I request you all to share the feedback in the link which I'll be sending to you as well. If you already shared, that's a great. And now we will see you next Saturday. See you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senthilji.
Thank you.